I've been speedrunning Sonic games for 8 years, so I thought it'd be a fun idea to see just how many Sonic games I could beat in 24 hours. I decided to play 3D Sonic games since that's mostly what I speedrun, and well, honestly, I'm awful at the 2D ones. Oh, there's a rock. Here's a list of the games I decided to run. I already know what you guys are thinking. Why no Unleashed? Well, Unleashed is the longest casual Sonic game other than Frontiers, and not only do I not know the speedrun, but howlongtobeat.com says it's gonna take me 13 hours. Also, no storybook games because it's arguable if those are mainline. The first 4 games on this list I have the most experience in, and every game after are the games I felt I had the most confidence beating the quickest. And Shadow was a little bonus if I made it that far. Let's do this. Sonic Adventure 2 is by far my most played Sonic game. I've played it almost 4,000 hours at the time of recording this, and that's way more than anyone ever should. Because of that, SA2 was pretty uneventful, other than when I lost the first Biolizard fight to RNG. Oh my god, I'm getting fucking owned right now. Okay, alright. I somehow managed to get my ass handed to me in the final fight. But the spread of balls and lasers is pretty random, so am I a bad gamer? Who's to say? We finished the game in about 1 hour and 44 minutes and kept the momentum going into Sonic Frontiers. Frontiers is a brand new hit game that just came out, and it's officially the longest Sonic game to beat. But if you didn't know, the 80% world record for this game is already below 1 hour, and my PB was about a 107 when doing this, so I was confident for the most part. I was worried about one thing though. I was going to be using a new route. The thing about new speed games is that when the game is very open like Sonic Frontiers, the speedrun route changes practically every day. So I was a little worried about not having my normal splits to guide me through, but ultimately it didn't matter except for when the balls drop. Did you guys see that? What the f? And again, without much friction, we finished Frontiers in 1 hour and 17 minutes RTA, and about a 110 load list, so pretty close to PB. With spirits high about the challenge, I was excited to progress. Goodbye, Sonic Frontiers. It's Sonic Colors time. Where is Sonic Colors? Yo, imagine how funny it would be if I had to re-download Colors. See, I used to speedrun Colors Ultimate when it released, but it stopped because every time the game crashed on PB pace, I felt like someone had jumped me in an alley and then took everything that's ever mattered to me. Oh, no, game, don't crash. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. No, it crashed. No. No. Let's go. I never realized I deleted it, but re-downloading it wasn't the issue. The main scare was because if I deleted the game, that meant I wouldn't have my completed save file to play the mode that I planned to play for this challenge, Egg Shuttle. If you're not familiar with Egg Shuttle, it's basically a mode meant for speedrunning that takes you from one stage to the next after you finish each one. It cuts out all the cutscenes, all the time you spend on the world map, and most importantly, all the extra loads. Sonic Colors would take me close to 5 hours if I didn't have access to Egg Shuttle. With Egg Shuttle, it would take me a little over 1 hour. I looked on speedrun.com in the resources tab to see if they had a file I could download, but no dice there either. So with a hope and a prayer, I opened the game in hopes that by some stroke of luck, I still had my completed save file available. And when I did, moment of truth, continue is good. Oh, let's go. Okay, it's here. It's here. Thank God. Bless up. The day is saved. The game's there. From there, Colors was a train wreck. I hadn't played the game much in a while, and it showed. This is just so sad. Colors fans, look away. The old me knew how to run this game. I have no clue what the f I'm doing anymore. Not to mention, after playing so much Sonic Frontiers, I would get the controls mixed up the entire time, making for some really silly mistakes. I barely remember the routing in all the stages, so it could hardly be called a speedrun. I spent way too long on a skip in Asteroid Coaster 5 that saves a good chunk of time, but it was not worth me trying to hit the skip for over 15 minutes. Okay. Big moment, guys. Big moment, big moment, big moment. Please, please, please. No way! No way! But after a huge scare, wow, that only took forever, bro. Wait, what the f? Oh, wait, I forgot. Hold on, I forgot. I have to actually play this. My ass almost closed the game, too. The game took me only about 40 minutes more than I was expecting, coming in at 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 29 seconds. Sonic Heroes. Oh boy, Sonic Heroes. I spent a good chunk of time speedrunning this game, probably a couple hundred hours. Most of that time being spent on playing Team Rose, which is like the baby mode of the game, and the only team that has a mandatory tutorial at the beginning, just to make sure you've played a video game before. I felt confident putting Sonic Heroes early because I knew how most of the mechanics worked for each team, could easily get all the Chaos Emeralds in Team Rose, and then play the game the rest of the way decently fast. I was so naive that it hurts. It takes the average person about 11.5 hours to beat the full thing. I went in knowing that it was going to be one of the longer games on the list, but I wanted to play it earlier in the challenge because it was one of the games I knew I could play fast, but also the most frustrating for parts I wasn't good at, and would take me way longer if I was tired. No way, dude! How did that even work? Every team after Team Rose felt like walking 10 miles on Legos without shoes. Hello? What the f is going on? Look at my face and tell me this game's good. This is a very good game. Ignore everything you're seeing on screen right now. The levels in Sonic Heroes are generally quite long compared to other Sonic games, and it took me about 5 to 10 minutes to complete every level. Checkpoints are also some of the most brutal in the series, with each one being very far from the last. Team Sonic took me about 2.5 hours on its own. Alright, cool. I knew that Team Dark would be the longest and most painful, so I decided to get it out of the way next. I found myself relying on a speedrun tech called Team Blast Glitch, which, as the name implies, helps you get a full Team Blast gauge quickly by thunder shooting in flight formation and switching to another formation on the same frame. Team Blast is slow because the animation is long, but I didn't care. I got to press Z with zero thought and strong arm my way through some of the most annoying sections in the game. By the time I got to Team Chaotix, gamers, if you've been sitting for a while, stand up, bro. That shit kinda nice. I was ready to break my Sonic Heroes disc in half. I was so exhausted, and I could feel myself losing steam. With good reason, though. I'd been gaming for over 13 hours by the time I had made it to Chaotix, and this game was starting to wear my spirit. It was at this point I realized one of my biggest blunders. I decided to play this game on console. Speedruns for this game are legal on emulator, and I was losing several seconds every time I loaded a new stage. I could have probably saved over an hour on loads alone. Oh well, next time, I guess. Shoutouts to the Sonic Heroes speedrunners for keeping me sane and giving me some pointers on stuff to do while I was playing. I'd never speedran Final Story before, and they let me know that I could press the funny Z button and beat Metal Overlord with 5 Team Blasts in a row. Sonic Heroes finished in record time. Oh god, 9.5 fucking hours. Only 9 hours and 40 minutes. Just like that, I basically wasted almost half of my time on this challenge playing Sonic Heroes, and I've only finished 4 Sonic games. Honestly, at this point, I was kind of mad. It was embarrassing to have barely made any progress, so I knew that I was going to have to step it up. I was almost 15 hours in with no breaks, but instead of slowing down, I decided to drink some coffee and hit the gas. My experience with Sonic Forces, you might ask? I played it the day it released, beat it, and never touched it again. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I enjoyed playing it this time around. The game isn't great by any means, but it was super nice to zoom through levels by mostly just boosting and not having to use what little brain power I had left. Luckily, Forces is boost to win, so that's exactly what I did. And in a very quick 2 hours and 10 minutes, I beat the game with next to zero headache. Sonic Adventure DX was up next. First up was Sonic Story, which is the only part of the game I remembered what I needed to do, and only because I've seen so many speedruns of it. But surprisingly, I've barely played this game. Yeah, sorry. When I was a kid, I knew this game existed, but I never got a copy for myself. So the only time I played all the way through the game was one time back in 2018. Oh yeah, boy. Oh. What a way to start the game, dude. What was that? Sonic controls and feels very similar to SA2, so making Sonic go fast wasn't the issue, but I had no clue where the hell I was going in the hub world. Thank God Sky Chase exists. Speedrunners put the tornado into the corner, and then all of the planes won't be able to damage you there. I could spend this time playing the game and shovel as much food into my mouth as possible. Thank God. And again later on. And surprise, surprise. After I ate food, I got a second wind of energy. Sonic's story was smooth sailing for the most part. The only real issue was with Egg Viper. I figured out how to beat him pretty quick, but I was so tired I kept making little mistakes that would force me to replay the whole fight again and again and again. This sent me back like another 20 minutes or so. After playing with Eggman Snake, we went into Big Story. For Big, you're just going from stage to stage trying to catch Froggy, so it's super fast and easy. Although, in an effort to hype myself up, I started trying to perform a trick called the instant catch. If you press L and R on the same frame that Froggy bites the lure, you can skip the entire reel-in gameplay and save a good chunk of time. Okay, this is my moment, No! What the Froggy. See, it went great. From Amy's story onwards, I had no clue what I was doing, and I was starting to get loopy from exhaustion. Thank God I had some SATX gamers and speedrunners in my chat to tell me where I needed to go. Otherwise, I'd have spent way longer on this game. After being carried through with step-by-step instructions, I finished SATX in 4 hours and 51 minutes. I'm a broken man now. It's 7 a.m. I haven't taken any real break, but I had to keep gaming. I played Generations last when I was about 15, so I was running on fumes and raw gamer ability alone. I would only have 3.5 hours to complete this game and check at least one more Sonic game off the list. Only 10 minutes before the 24 hours were up, I collected all of the Chaos Emeralds and made it to the end of the game. All that stood between me and completion was putting the Chaos Emeralds in the gears and Time Eater, the final boss of Generations. It took way too long to put the emeralds in. I was only left with 7.5 minutes in the fight. Little did I know, I was about to face my greatest challenge, the most insufferable boss I had to fight in this 24-hour span. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and neither did my chat. There's a gimmick in this fight where you're supposed to switch between 3D and 2D in order to catch up to Time Eater and hit him, but for some reason I couldn't catch up to him. I spent so long on the first attempt that I ran out of rings because they were impossible to pick up. It was hard to tell if it was a skill issue or a sleep issue, and just like that, my first 3 minutes to beat the boss were wasted and I had to restart again. Only 4 minutes remaining for me to beat the boss. I kept spamming boost in hopes to catch up, but it was pointless. I didn't even get to hit him once, and just like that, I watched the timer tick past 24 hours. I didn't finish Sonic Generations in time. But I didn't give up. I already made it this far, so let's bring it home. After fighting the boss for almost 20 minutes, I learned the secret tech to defeat the most cruel and confusing boss of the night. Just hold boost. Yeah, you heard me right. To beat this boss, you just hold boost and literally never let go. Wow. I really did just have to fucking hold it the whole time. You have to switch from 3D to 2D a couple times to avoid a laser attack, but that's it. If I would have known that, I could have beat this in under 24 hours, but I didn't. So I did it. I completed the 24 hours, finishing a total of 6 Sonic games. To be honest, with all the tech issues, having to restart my stream a couple times, and downtime between games, I think it counts as 7. And if you don't count it, I don't care, man. Let me have this. I 100% should have not played Heroes in this challenge. It's by far my biggest regret. I knew that it would take me a little longer than the other games, but not 10 hours worth of time. If I do this again, I'll do the games in a different order to try to min-max results. I hope you guys enjoyed my pain. Subscribe if you're new, and if you want to see me do more dumb challenges like this. Have a good one.